Hello everyone, this is Teacher Michelle and welcome to another episode of Unang Math. In this episode, I will be covering this lesson about parallel and identical graphs of linear functions. Okay, we already know that the graph of a linear function is a straight line. Okay, when we say parallel lines, or let's say, if the graphs of linear functions are parallel lines, then those graphs will never meet or intersect. Comparing it to intersecting lines, or let's say, if the graphs of linear functions are intersecting lines, then it means those graphs meet at a certain point. Okay, what about identical lines or identical graphs? Identical graphs are exactly the same graphs. Okay, now, the graphs of two linear functions with the same slope are either parallel or identical. Okay, let's give an example. We have here two linear functions, y is equal to ax plus b and y is equal to cx plus d. A and c, these are the slopes in these linear functions. B and D are the y-intercepts. According to this first statement, if A is equal to C, which means if the slopes of those two linear functions are equal and B is not equal to D, which means the y-intercepts of those two linear functions are not equal. So slopes are equal, y-intercepts are not equal. Then the graphs of those two linear functions are parallel. Okay, let's give specific examples. Okay, we have here y is equal to 2x plus 2 and y is equal to 2x minus 3. Let's graph y is equal to 2x plus 2. Since the slope is 2 or positive number, then we have an idea that the graph slopes upward. Y-intercept is positive 2, so it means the graph crosses the positive y-axis. So the graph looks like this. Okay, what about y is equal to 2x minus 3? Slope is also 2 or positive 2. So it means the graph slopes upward. But y-intercept is negative 3. So it means it passes or it touches the y-axis in a negative value. So the graph looks like this. These two graphs are parallel lines. So if the slopes are equal, y-intercepts are not equal, then the graphs of those two linear functions are parallel. Okay, moving on to the second statement. If A is equal to C, so if slopes are equal and B is equal to D, y-intercepts are equal, so slopes are equal, y-intercepts are equal, then the graphs are identical or exactly the same. Okay, how about if are slopes are not equal and y-intercepts are not equal? So the graphs of these two linear functions are intersecting lines. So they meet at a certain point. Okay, now, let's give more examples by answering these concept check questions. For each pair of linear functions below, we will determine the relationship between their graphs. We will write parallel if they are parallel, identical if they're identical, and point if they intersect at one point. Okay, we have here these two linear functions. Y is equal to negative 2x minus 3 and y is equal to 2x plus 2. Let's check the slopes and the y-intercepts. This is negative 2. This is positive 2. Slopes are different. What about y-intercepts? This is negative 3, this is positive 2. So y-intercepts are also different. Different slopes, different y-intercepts, then the graphs of these two linear functions are going to meet at a certain point. So we are going to write here point. Okay, what about number 2? Y is equal to negative 1 half x plus 1. Y is equal to negative 1 half x plus 2. Slopes are the same. So negative 1 half, here's also negative 1 half. What about the y-intercepts? This is positive 1, this is positive 2. So y-intercepts are different. So if slopes are the same and y-intercepts are different, then that means the graph of these two linear functions are parallel. So we are going to write parallel. Okay, for number 3, we have here y is equal to 3x plus 5 and y is equal to 3x plus 5. Same slopes, same y-intercepts. Then the graphs of these two linear functions are identical or exactly the same. Okay, this time, let's answer the following problems. Okay, for our first problem, according to this one, among the following linear functions, so these are the linear functions, which one has a graph that is parallel to the graph shown in the right? So this is our figure. So if you're going to take a look at this figure, okay, this point is 0, 6, and this point is 3, 0. We can also say, since this graph is sloping downward, then we already have an idea that the slope is a negative number. So it's less than 0 or it's a negative number. What about the y-intercept? Okay, we can see that this graph passes through the positive y-axis, and that is 6. So y-intercept is 6. Okay, we are going to choose which one among these linear functions in which this graph should be parallel to this graph. So in order to find out which among these linear functions, we have to remember, in order for two graphs to be parallel, they should have the same slope and different y-intercepts. So we have to find out first, what is the slope of this linear function or of this graph. So y is equal to ax, and since we already know that the y-intercept is 6, so this is plus 6. Okay, to find out the slope, we already know that this is the change in y over the change in x. So we have here 0 minus 6. What about x? 3 minus 0. So this is negative 6 over 3. So the slope now is negative 6 over 3, or negative 6 divided by 3. Then that means our slope is negative 2. So our linear function now is y is equal to negative 2x, okay, plus 6. Okay, now that we know the slope, we can now find out which among this linear function has a graph that is parallel to this graph. So same, we're going to find the same slope as negative 2. So it can be number 3 or number 4. Okay, what about the y-intercept? This is positive 6. So it should be different. This is positive 6, this is positive 3. So the correct answer is the linear function number 3. Okay, for the last problem, okay, according to this one, the graph of the linear functions y is equal to mx minus 3 and y is equal to 2 over 3x plus n are identical. We will find the value of 3mn. So if it's identical, then that means these two linear functions are equal. So let's write y is equal to mx minus 3. Okay, this is equal to y is equal to 2 over 3x plus n. So it means m is equal to 2/3. Okay, what about n? So n means that's equal to negative 3. Okay, the question is, we are going to find the value of 3mn. So it's going to be 3 times m is 2 over 3. Okay, times the value of n, which is negative 3. Simplify. 2 times negative 3, then that means 3mn is equal to negative 6.